Hello everyone. With the time running out for final exams to come and the computer class becoming too troublesome with regard to practicals being very important for this particular term, just like the last chapter of the previous term, I have decided to switch to the online mode for the theory part. I'm going to be explaining you the entire chapter that is there in your book, the theory part over a pre-recorded class, and this is the start of it. And I'm going to be posting it in the GCR. You can watch that video. Any questions you may have, you can post it in the comment section. Please do not comment with thank you sir, okay sir, good morning sir. Use the comments only if you have a question. If you watch the video, you can just give me a thumbs up. That is more than enough. I don't think so even that is required. If you have a question, you can once again post your in the comment section. Watch the video. If you have any, if you don't understand, pause the video, go back and re-watch it. Best possible if you watch it with headphones on, if you have headphones on, so that you understand very clearly. I have tried to speak slowly and explain to you in bits and pieces. The practical part of this particular discussion, we'll do it in the computer lab, and probably I'll be taking some extra classes so that I can explain you the dynamics of it. Okay, so without too much talk, let's go straight into the class. Okay, in our previous class, we had started with chapter number 4, that is tables in MS Word, and we had discussed what is a table, what are the qualities of a table with this particular diagram that is given on page number 40 of your book. And we had talked about what is a column and what is a cell. The vertical alignment of all these boxes from top to bottom is called a column. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. 5 columns in fact, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And a row is a horizontal alignment of cells, and this each small box is called a cell. So this is how a table looks like. And how to create a table, we had talked about in the previous class. The various ways in which Microsoft Word allows you to create a table. The first one that was given here is using the table button. When you use the table button on Microsoft Office Word, the Microsoft Word, Office automatically shows you a sample of a table, and with which you can choose the number of rows and columns that you want and click to insert it. The steps are given here: step 1, step 2, 3, 4, 5. And how does it look like on the Word? I had shown to you in the class, but I'll show this to you again. Just give me a moment. I will switch between Microsoft Word and no, this is Microsoft Word. Sorry for that. That is Microsoft Word. Yeah. So here we have Microsoft Word, and I go to the Insert tab. When I go to the Insert tab, you see there is a tables subsection. I click the table subsection, and here is this grid. So when I move my mouse on top of this grid, the number of rows, number of cells and columns that I want, I drag my mouse, and if you pay attention, on the right side in the document, the computer is showing me a preview of what I want. So if I reduce it, the number of rows and columns also reduces. But remember, this is just a preview. The table is still not created. It will be created when I click on after I have done my selection. So if I take it outside, the table is gone. Look, I have taken my cursor outside, and the table here that was there is not visible. So right now, when I go inside and I can select half also, I can select more also. When I do this, after I click, and my table is created. Okay, so that is step number 1. But before I do that, remember the first step talks about where do you want to create the table. So I discussed this in the previous class. Right now, where is my cursor? Wherever is my cursor, you see the small line that is blinking. Wherever is my cursor, the table will appear only there. Like right now my cursor is here. So if I want my table in between a particular line, just give me a moment. I'll copy a line from the net. Mahatma Gandhi. I'll copy a line from about Mahatma Gandhi, and Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi was an Indian lawyer, blah 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 blah. I'll copy this and I will go to my Word document and I have pasted it here. Now if you pay attention, if I want the table at the end of, at the start of this particular paragraph, look, if you pay attention, the cursor is right now here. See, the cursor is blinking here, right at the end of the word world, W-O-R-L-D, world. I'll just zoom it in. Yes, so if you see there is a cursor which is blinking at the end of the word world, W-O-R-L-D. When I click, yeah, at the end of this word, you see there is a cursor that is blinking. Now, yeah, so wherever I want my table to be introduced, if I want it below it, I'll press enter and my cursor is come below. But if I want it on top of it, I will place my cursor on top of it, I'll put it enter, my entire paragraph will come down and I'll go back up, and here I can insert a table. Or I can also insert a table in between. What I can do is I can insert a table here also. Wherever is my cursor, my table will come there. So if I want to insert a table here, I will just go insert, I will click here, and when I do this, what happens? If you pay attention, what happens? The entire paragraph that I had selected has broken down into two parts, and the place where my cursor was in between, that is the place where the table has come, and the remaining lines have come down below. Okay, so the first step is what you need to do is you need to place the cursor where you want the table and then follow the steps. So that was step number one. Step number two I have already discussed in the class, but I will go very fast. Step number two is again insert table, and here if I want more rows and columns, right now if you see I have selected the entire grid, and the total number of rows and columns that are available are only 10 rows and 10 columns and 8 rows. Okay, but what if I want more than that to begin with? So I can go to the insert table option, and here I can select the number of columns that I want. Suppose I want 15 columns and I want 10 rows, and I click OK, and voila, my table has come. If you pay attention, the difference between this table and the table above, if you pay attention, this table is smaller and this table is bigger. It's got more number of boxes. So that is step number two. I am going very fast. Why? Because this has already been discussed in the class and it is in detail given in your book. If you come to your book here, this was using the table option, then this was using the insert table option, that one that we just did. If you pay attention, this particular box that we came, step 4, step 5, and comes here by step number 1 and 5, 4 and 5. Now the next option that we're talking about is, suppose I want a table, sorry for that, I want a table of my choice. I want a table of my choice. I want to draw a table. In order to do that also, there is an option available. Once again, I'll go to the insert tab and I click here and I go to the draw table option. And here you see my cursor has changed into a pencil. So when I click and drag, what happens? Microsoft Word allows me to draw a table. Okay. Remember, if we draw a table on a piece of paper with pencil or pen, we need a scale. But here Microsoft Word gives us the option of drawing our own table, and we just need to click and drag. And what happens is Microsoft Word gives me a straight line. Automatically will give me a straight line. Now this is the box that is created. Now here, if you see, if I click from here to here, Microsoft Word will give me the number of lines. Sorry for that. Control Z. Sorry for that. Once again, see, I can draw a table inside, number of columns that I want and the size that I want. If you pay attention to the table on top, all the cells are of equal size, but here I can design the size of my table. I just make a line in the middle of the box and computer automatically gives me a line. See, I can design the table the way I want it. Fine. That is the next way. Another way that Microsoft Word allows you is, once again I'll come back, next option, that is insert table here. And here you can get an option of quick tables. What is quick table? Quick tables are basically pre-designed tables that come with your software. Okay, these are the options available. Okay, you can either use one of these options, or you can download some options from online and use them as one. So one of them, like for example, if I want to design a calendar, so I can take this design, the table is already drawn, I can take this design, make my changes. Okay, and I can make changes the way I want it. Fine, whichever date I want to give it. January began on 1st here, so this becomes 2, this becomes 3, 4, and so on and so forth. So I can make my changes, and basically Microsoft Word is giving me a pre-designed template wherein I can design my own, use that design to create my own design. So these are different ways of creating a table. The next thing that your book is talking about is, okay, the next thing that you're talking about is, your book is talking about is adding data to your table. Now this is where we begin our today's discussion. I have gone through super fast with the previous section because we have discussed them in the previous class in the classroom already. Adding data to your table. Once we have added, now please let's go through the book once for a little while. Once we have added a table to your document, you need to add data to it. Click in the cell in which you want to add the data and type the value you want. Now data is any kind of information. This is for your information, let me tell you. Anything that I want to type inside the cell is data. Okay, I can type here A lesson, B lesson, short break, first, second, third, then long break, fourth and fifth. Okay, and Monday. Now you see the when I'm typing MOND, computer is already suggesting me, do you want to type Monday? Press enter. So I just need to do this. If you pay attention to my screen once again, I'll zoom it in. So here is Monday. If you pay attention, TUES. The moment I do that, computer is suggesting me, and I will take the suggestion. I don't have to do extra hard work. Now, before I continue, this is the what you are adding data. Whichever cell you want to add data, you can do that. Now coming back, to move to the next cell, either press the tab key on the key or the right arrow. Now depending upon what you are doing, if your cursor is in between the data, if I use the arrow keys right left, my cursor will go inside the cell. But the moment my cursor has come to the end of the data inside the cell, after this, if I press the right arrow key, what happens? My cursor will jump to the next cell. Okay. Now because there is no data typed here, if I press the right arrow key, what happens? My cursor will come to the next cell. If I go down arrow, my cursor will come to the down cell. But suppose if I am typing here, and so what if my data is huge and I want to go from the middle of the data straight to the next cell? So what I will do is I will use the tab key on the keyboard, TAB. I press the tab key once and voila. I'll just show it to you on my on-screen keyboard also. Just give me a moment. On-screen keyboard, yeah. So please pay attention. My on-screen keyboard is here, and if you pay attention, my cursor is here right now. If I put it inside Monday, and if I press the tab key, what happens? Voila, my cursor has come to the next. If I keep pressing the tab key, my tab key will take me to the next cell. Okay, but remember, my tab key will only take me to the next cell on the right side. Okay, wherever is my cursor, it will only take me to the right side. If I have to come back, what do? I press the back arrow key, not backspace. Remember, not backspace, back arrow key. Okay, also in order to come back from a particular cell, you can also use the shift plus tab key. Now if you see, my cursor is here in this box. If I'm holding the shift key and I press a tab, shift key tab, shift key tab. So shift key will take me back. Shift key basically switches between the options on the keys. Now, so we can use both the keys available to us to switch between one cell and one cell to the next one. Now, to move the previous cell, press the shift. This we have already discussed. Selecting the rows and columns. Now, suppose I have created rows and I want to delete some rows, or I want to select the entire row. One option is you take the cursor to the start of the row, click and drag and leave. Okay, that is one option. But what if my row is too long, or what if my column is too long? If I have to select the column, what I do is click and drag. But if you noticed, if I come outside this column a little bit, my entire table is selected. So I need to keep it inside the column. A little bit, go back up and leave. So what if my column is too long? So I need to click and drag and drag and drag. Instead of that, there is a shortcut available. In order to select the entire cell, what you can do is, if you pay attention, my cursor changes its shape when I'm going inside the table. When my cursor is outside, it is white in color. When my cursor comes inside, it changes color to a green color. If when it is inside the cell, it looks like typing a cursor. When it comes in between two lines, it changes shape. Right now it is on this line. It is showing me up arrow and down arrow. Basically it is asking me, what do you want to do? You want to click and drag it down, or you want to click or drag it up. Okay, or here if you come in the between two columns, now the cursor is asking me, do you want to go right, or you want to go click and drag, or you want to go left. Okay, so in this way also I can change the shape of my columns and rows. Fine. How to select the entire row in one click? If I come right on the edge of the first cell, you see my arrow has turned into a black arrow. If I click it double, my entire row is selected. You just go outside, wait for the black arrow to come and click double. Double click will take it to the entire row. Okay, same thing option is available if you go to the top of the column. Here if I click once, you see my arrow is pointing downwards now. I click here and my entire column is selected. Okay, so these are two ways in which you can select the entire row and column. Row in double click, column with only one click. See, if I move the arrow on top, okay, but remember my arrow is touching the top line. Here my arrow has to be touching the left hand side line, okay, in order for me to select the entire row. Next thing your book talks about is selection bar is an invisible narrow strip that runs along the left edge of a Microsoft Word document. We'll talk about this later on. So this is how you can select. This process is also given in your book. To select a column and to select a row. Okay, now inserting row and table. Now when I'm talking inserting row, here this one, inserting row and columns in a table, and deleting rows and columns in a table. I'm going to be talking about both of them together, so please pay attention. Suppose you have inserted a table and you realize that I want more columns. I want more columns. এখানে আমার আরেকটা লাগবে. How do I do it? Very simple. First you have to tell Microsoft Word, here I want another column. The moment I select it, okay, this entire column is selected. You see this small box has appeared. In this small box you see there is an option of insert. Insert below. Okay, so insert option, when I click this, what are the options available? Insert above, insert below, left and right. Insert above and below are for rows. Insert left or right is for columns. Fine. You can choose any one of that. Suppose I select insert left. What happens? You see one more column has appeared. one more column. Earlier there was one row here, one column here. Now there is another column that has appeared. Okay. Now, once again I'll show it to you. Here I want to insert a particular column. So you can do it from here also. You can take your mouse inside this and do right click. The moment you do right click, you see there is an option called insert here, and all these things you can insert. So what we are going to do is we are going to insert a column to the left, and voila, a new column has appeared. Now there are 3 columns between B and number 1. There is another option, of course, on when you are working on Microsoft Word and table, when you are using a table. Without a table, if you come outside, you see the number of tabs: file, home, insert, draw, design, layout, references, mailing, review, view, and help. But the moment I come inside the table, there are 2 more tabs that have opened up: table design and table layout. So in order to design the table, you can use the design tab. All these options you can design. In the layout tab, you can decide all these options. One of them is insert above, insert below, insert left, insert right. Now let me remind you, it is in the rows and columns section. Insert above and below are for rows, insert left and right are for columns. ठीक है? Now suppose you say, sir, I want to insert more than 1 column. So what you need to do is, how many columns do you need? Suppose you need 3 columns, 1, 2, 3. So what you will do is you will click and drag. You have selected 3 columns. Now either this option, either with the right click option, insert, or with this option, that is the small floating bar that appears, you can decide. And here, if I decide insert to the left, now if you pay attention, between B and 1 there are 3 columns, and now we are telling the computer I want 3 more columns. So what I do is I've selected 3 and insert to the left. Now you see there are 3 more columns that have come. So basically, the number of columns you select and then you click insert, that many number of columns will appear on your screen. That means basically you are telling the computer that I have selected 5 columns, give me 5 more columns. ठीक है? Now the same process is to be applied when we use deleting a column. I want to delete these columns. Once again, I have selected all of them. I can do delete columns from right click here, and I will take my mouse inside it and do right click, and here you see there is a delete column option. Even in the floating bar there is a delete option. Even in the layout tab there is a delete option. I can use any one of the 3. If I do this, it will ask me, what do you want to delete? Do you want to delete cells? Do you want to delete columns? Do you want to delete rows and tables? So I want to delete columns. Delete. And my columns are gone. Once again, I will select once more and I will use the floating bar. You see here the delete option is available. Once again, the same option that was here is available here. Delete columns, and my columns are gone. Once again, I'll select this particular column. I'll do right click and you see delete column. Straightforward, no options at all, and my columns are gone. So in order to insert also, you can use the same process. In order to delete also, you can use the same process. The steps are given in your book. Inserting a column, step 1, step 2, step 3. Okay, click on the cell or row where you want to insert a new row or column. Right click on the mouse and from shortcut menu, insert. The same option, you see the one that I showed you on my screen. This photograph is given here. Acha. And here also you see the same photograph is given, how to add, insert a column or a row. The same thing is given when I'm talking about deleting a rows. I have just shown it to you. The steps are given, step 1, step 2, and step 1, step 2 through the layout tab. What I just showed you on my screen. So how to delete rows and columns. Chaliye. Now we are coming to the next thing, that is merging and splitting cells. Now suppose I have a particular row here. I will insert a row. So what I will do is I click here, insert row above, and another extra row has come up on top. In fact, I will get back, insert column to the left, insert column to the left, and after the third lesson we have a long break, so I'll go insert column to the left. ঠিক আছে? Now this particular row, there are different cells. I want this cell to be merged into one particular box. So what I will do is I will select the entire row, or I will select the number of cells, and once again I'll go to the layout tab. Here you see there is an option called merge cells. Merge. You see there is a small box called merge. You can use layout tab, or once again come inside the selected area, right click, and here you will find the option of merge cells. So when I do this, what happens? Please pay attention. Voila. Now this, all the boxes are gone and this has become one big long cell. So I want to write timetable here, timetable here. So this, with this option I can merge all the cells. Now here also, if you want to see, if I'll merge all these boxes, merge cells, and here also I will merge all these boxes, merge cells. Why have I done that? Because the break is common to all the days. There are different classes on Monday, there on in A and B lesson, different classes on Tuesday, Wednesday, come down, Thursday, Thursday, come down, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Alright, so there are different classes here, but the break is constant for each day. The break is constant. Break is a common thing for every day. So I have merged this cell. Okay. Now suppose you come across a merged cell and you say, no, I wanted to demerge it. Matlab, I want to split the cell. After merging cell, you can, if a cell is merged, you can only split the cell. Now suppose this particular cell, I want to split it. So what I do is split cells. I'll click split cells here also. Other option, I'll click here and right click. Here you will see there is an option called split cells. When I do that, the computer will ask me how many columns, how many rows do you want. So I'll keep the column as 1. But how many rows do I want? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I want 8 rows. I want 1 column and 8 rows. And I click enter, and my 8 rows of single column are available. Okay. So basically you can merge a cell, you can split a cell. Suppose I want this particular section to be split, but I want 2 columns and I want only 4 rows. Now you see I have created a different kind of a table inside this box. So you can decide a different kind of a structure inside the box. So that was merging and splitting for you. Let us come to a book. What is it talking about? To merge cells, well, let us read the chapter. Sometimes the data in 2 or more rows may look better if the cells are combined. To do this, we can use merge option. To merge cells, step number 1, step number 2, select the cells to be merged and blah 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 blah. To split cells, once again, it's given, the same process is given as I have discussed. ठीक है? Now identify the icons. These are different icons that are available on your Microsoft Word. You need to we'll do this when we are in the class, computer lab, and we'll do this in front of our screens. Now formatting a table. You can resize a table manually by dragging the box handle. You see this handle. At the end of every table, you see there is this box. You see here is this box. So you can increase the size. If I take my cursor inside it, the computer is basically showing me 2 arrows. I can click and drag it. My table can become bigger in size. I can click and drag it inside. My table will become smaller in size. Okay. So that is one option. There are other options also available. Let us go back to our book. Okay. We can also resize the table using the options available under auto fit in the layout tab. Now in the layout tab, if you go to the layout tab here in the layout tab, you see there is an option called auto fit. I need to select the entire table, and to select the entire table, I can click and drag diagonally all the cells, or you see right on top left corner there is this box with arrows inside it. I click it once, the entire table will get selected. ठीक है? And here in the option of auto fit, what do you want to do? Auto fit to contents, auto fit to window, or auto fit fixed column width? Now let us try each one of them. What happens if I do to auto fit content? What happens? My cells have become the same size as these numbers. Okay, so auto fit to content means that my columns will become the same size, exactly the same size as the data inside the particular cell. Okay, I don't have to increase or decrease each and every column or row. I can simply just click auto fit to content here, and my table will do the rest automatically. Another option that is here is auto fit to window. Let us see what happens when we do this. Now my table has become wide enough for the page, as big as the page available. Okay, or fixed column width. Now in this, the computer will allow me to change the size of the column. You see, the size of the column can be entered. Size and length of the size of the row and the column can be entered here. You see these two boxes here. Okay, size of the column and size of the row. Fine. Here you can decide the size of rows and columns. Chaliye, auto fit to content, auto fit to window, fixed column width. You can also fix the row height and column height by specifying size in the height window. That I just showed it to you. In the height window, you can decide how much should be the size of the rows and columns. Now coming back, changing the alignment of the text. Now when we are typing inside the box, I may want my alignment in different ways. Even this particular diagram here is showing me. So here, suppose I will make it to auto fit to content first. Make my table a little smaller. Yeah. Now what I want to do is, inside this, suppose on Wednesday, on Monday you have English. Now you see, when I'm typing English, the bigger the size of English, the bigger is becoming the size of my column, because I have selected auto fit to content. So the computer is automatically adjusting the size. Math. Okay, then I will say we have EVS, then we'll have, let's say, computers, then we will have games, then we can have art, then we can have, let's say, what else is left, Bengali or Hindi, HINDI, Hindi. Now these are written in this manner, and in this box I will write short break, and because I will copy, Control C, Control V, short break and long break. But in order to make the design look more interesting, what I will do is, I want to change the direction of my text. So what I will do is, I will select this particular box here, I will select short break, and if you come to, once again, three options. This floating window is available to me. I can do right click also, or even in the layout tab, you see there is something called text direction. In text direction, if I click, what happens? I can change. You see the short break has changed. What happens? These are the four options available. So I will do this. This one also I will change. Huh. And this way I can change the direction of my text. Fine, if you pay attention, I can change the direction of my text. And the same way you can change the direction of any text basically. Okay, basically it can go right and left, right and left, right and left. I'll bring it back and drag it back up a little bit more. Yeah, so this is changing the text direction. The same option is available here also. If you pay attention, sorry for that, I'll just click it outside once again. Yeah, and you see the floating window is appeared here. You see where is my text direction? My text direction is not available here in this floating window, but I can do right click and text direction is available here. So basically text directions are available at two places, this with right click here also, and in the layout tab also, in the text direction option. Fine. Next one that we are talking about, that your chapter is talking about, is changing the alignment. Oh sorry, this is first talking about the alignment, then the text direction. So now we'll go to the alignment section. Now if you pay attention, my this timetable is sticking to the left. I want it in the center. So you see here in the alignment section, I can decide center of the box. Now there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Unlike Microsoft Word that you had, where you had 4 types of alignment in the previous chapter we had discussed, here there are 9 types of alignment. What are the different types of alignment? I'll just show it to you. I'll just try and make this row a little bit bigger. Now what happens when I change the different alignments? Please pay attention. First is this one, top left corner, top center, top right, middle left, middle center, middle right, bottom left, bottom center, and bottom right. Okay, so these are different alignments available to us. I will take it to the center alignment here, middle center. The same thing I will do for every single. In order to do that, I want everybody to have the same alignment. What I can do is I will select the entire table. Once again, I'll come to this box here and click, and I will select for the entire table. When I do that, if you pay attention, everything has come in the center. This one has come in the center, short break has come to the center, and with this, even this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, earlier they were sticking to the left side, they were this way, I have made them this way. Okay, so with this you can change the alignment also, and you can select the text direction also. Coming back to our book here. Now changing the direction of the text we have already discussed. I've shown it to you. You can go back and read the chapter once again. Okay, so adding formula to the table. These are the steps to add formula to a table. You can do simple calculations in numeric data in MS Word. This is an option that you can try out, but this is more easily done with the help of Microsoft Excel, which we are going to be studying in the next chapters. The steps, however, to add the formula is given here. Step 1, step 2, 3, 4. You can easily add formulas, but it is more easy if you start doing it Microsoft Excel. The next thing that we are talking about is adding borders and shading to the table. Just like adding borders or shading to other objects that we tried out in the previous chapter, when we had talked about borders and shadings of an image, or what is called a word art, we can also add borders and shading, change the style of borders and lines of our table. In order to do that, the steps are given here in your book also. Just come here, selecting the table style, select the table, click on the design tab of the table tools, and here you can make you can choose appropriate style for your table. To apply borders and shading to the table, select the table, etc., etc., etc. Pen color, you can decide the color, you can decide the size, you can decide the lines, and all these options are available. We're going to do it in our cell now. The timetable cell that we've selected. First, what we're going to do is we're going to select the entire table, or you can also select a particular cell, or you can also select a particular column or row, whichever one you want. Suppose I select this timetable cell, and now I want to redesign my particular cell. So what do? I can go to the table design tab. So far we were using the layout tab. Now we'll go to the table design tab. Here, if you pay attention, there are subsections of table styles and options, table styles and shading, borders and shading. So the first thing that we are going to be talking about is borders and shading. Here I can decide what kind of, suppose I decide this particular color. Which line do I want? I want this particular line also. I want this particular line also. I want this particular line also. So whichever line I click, my line becomes that particular, the pen color that I've selected. Okay. Now, I need to click outside once, and my shading is complete. Also, there are other ways also in which I can do it. Suppose I select this cell again. I come to the design table. I can select what kind of color do I want. I can select okay, border sampler. Other options are also, you see here there is a double line available. There is double line. There is one thick line. So depending on what kind of line. Also, if I go to this particular line here, you see this particular box here. All these line options are available. I've selected this particular thing. I can select the thickness of my line. Right now it is 3 points. I can go 4 points, 4.5 points. I click and my line has become this design. You see, pay attention. I click and my line has become this design. Whichever line I want, I can select into that design. Voila. Please pay attention. Just once again, I'm going to be selecting here, and I select my line here, 4.5 points, and click and drag, and voila, your line is made. Okay, so you can decide the size, the pattern of the lines. You can drag it down here also. There are different types of lines also available. The color of the line you can decide. Fine. Also, pen color can be changed from this color, this orange color here, to blue color. If I do this, give me a moment, let me change this into 4.5 pointer. Yeah, I select, click and drag, and drag and drag, and click and drag, and click and drag. So depending upon what you want to do, where do you want the, you make your selections here, and with the pen you just click and drag and your lines will appear. Okay, and here if I want, now this, the next option that we're talking about is borders. What kind of borders do I want? Suppose I want no borders, all my borders are gone. Suppose I will select the entire table. Depending upon what is your selection, you can decide. Then you first make your selection and then you go no borders. Now if I do no borders, see, all my lines are gone. Suppose here I will say I only want a box border. I will make the selection of my entire table once again, and I will come to box border, and if you pay attention, the box has been created. If I click here and reduce the size of my line, and I click, yeah, so the line has become narrower. Processing, yeah, processing, come on, good, very nice. The last one is going with this, thank you, and tada. So my line has become smaller. Okay, and once again I'm going to select the table here. I'll go to the design tab here, and here I can decide what kind of box that I want. If I go here, and voila, my entire box has become like this. So I can put different colors of line, I can decide the thickness of the line, I can decide the different patterns of the line. All these options are available to me. Also, I can definitely put in colors. If I want to put color in here, I'll select this particular cell and I will decide to go with the blue. Okay, I can change this one also. Okay, just give me a moment. Layout, no, this is the layout tab. This is shading and home, and my text color will become red. So I've made it into red color. ठीक है, and I will select once again, and shading I can do of this color. Okay, so this way you can decide, you can basically design your Microsoft Word table into the way you want it. Okay, your book talks about these two buttons. Also, there is another option called when you select your table, when you select your entire table and you do right click inside it, there is an option called table properties. If you come to table properties, this box will appear. Here you will see that there are different tabs available. The table tab will give you the alignment, the row tab will give you the size of the row, the column tab will tell you the size of the column, the cell tab will tell you the properties of the cell, and the alt text, these are the alternative text options are available. If I click here and I go inside the design layout, and here in the borders and shading section, in the borders part, if I go and come straight down into the option of borders and shading, I click here and you see all these options that I have just shown you in small bits and pieces are available here also. You can decide what kind of design of line, you can decide what color, you can decide what width. Okay, and you can decide where to apply them to. You can apply them to the full table, you can apply them to a cell or a paragraph. This I think so we have already discussed in the previous class. So this is the table and shading borders of this table, page border and shading. Got it? So that was borders and shading for you. The system is given here. Select with a color of a pen and a color with drop down box. Okay, and you need to so we'll just go down this steps once again in a very fast manner. Just give me a moment, I'm going to read it out for you. To apply borders and shading to the table, select the table, click on the design and design tab of the table tools. In the borders group, click on the borders button. From the drop down menu, select the appropriate border style. We have already talked about it, what kind of border style that we want. Select a color for the border from the drop down box of pen color. Select the line weight, the thickness of the line that is, from the drop down box. Select the line style from the drop down box. Alternatively, you can click on the borders and shading in the paragraph group. As I showed it to you, you can either do selection from here, or you can click this drop down box and come to the borders and shading box. Here you can make the design the way you want it. ठीक है, coming back to our chapter, In this borders and shading box, select the table, click on the paragraph group of the home tab. In the borders tab, click on the settings. Now this particular thing that we have got it from here, you can also come, first you need to select the full table, and in the home tab inside the paragraph section, you see here, if I click on this box, in this section, once again there is a borders and shading. So this was available here also, in the borders and shading, here also borders and shading is available, and the same options are appear to you. You can decide what kind of style of line, the color of line, the width of line, and where do you want to apply this, and these options are definitely available to you. So with that, we come to the end of this chapter, where we've discussed various ways in which we can insert a table, and what are the things that we can do with the table. Now I would want everybody to go through this video. If there is any question, you can get back to me. You can leave me a question in the comment section of this video, definitely. And any other queries, you can always come and personally approach me in the class. Question number A, B, page number 50. Question number A, B, C, D need to be done in the book. Question number E we will discuss in the class, and even they have to be done in the book, which you have to upload it in an assignment that I'm going to be circulating in the GCR. Okay, so with that we come to the end of this chapter. For any questions, please do get back to me.
And that's the end.